Hello. Wow. Get ready for the stream. It coming through? Hello, hello. Bum, 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 bum. Hello, hello, good morning. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Hello there, Theodore Pinnock. Hello there, Nibby the Deadly Naddler. Hello there, Long. Hello there, the God of Moxie. Hello, hello. Yeah, the model. I'm still waking up. I think it's the lighting. Yeah, it's the lighting. Trying to see if I can. Let's see. Maybe here. Sort of. Might get funky eyes today. Yep. It's a little tricky because I have to have my laptop over to the side for the hand cam that's about to happen. So we're rolling with it. It'll be all right. But hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hello there, everyone. So today is, I guess, like sort of a sponsored stream because I got stuff to look at. Yay! Kover Publishing, who does a whole lot of, especially like pulp fiction kind of stuff, lots of good stories, fun adventure kind of stuff. He sent me 2 packages, and we get to open them together, look at it, read some stories. Hello, there's the man himself. Hello there, Alexander. And yes, Cirsova is a small indie publisher. I realized I didn't like add that to the thumbnail or the title, but I was like, maybe that will draw people's curiosity of what is a Cirsova? Who is a Cirsova? If you're wondering, the misspelling in the thumbnail was totally on purpose. Again, another big brain strategy by big streamer here, Minna Vanilla. Try and capture people, draw them in. Anyway, hello everyone, hello. Without further ado, shall we get into it? Let's see here. Let me oh wait. Here, before I forget, let me make sure I've linked to their website. Here we go. Let me link to the website. I'll put it as a pinned comment and in the description too. Maybe I should grab the other computer. This little one's a little slower. It'll be all right. Just add that. Alright, there's that one. But yeah, I'm excited. I haven't opened the boxes yet. It'll be kind of like a fun unboxing. And read some stories. Be very fun. I think you're gonna like it, chat. Here we go. Alright, let me pin that. There we go. Take us some coffee. Alright. Want to get the hand cam up. Let me just scoop myself down real quick. Now I'm just peeking out. Alright, let's see. Alright, that looks good. I wonder if I should get the more dramatic BGM up. This one's pretty happy right now. We'll do it for the unboxing, then maybe switch to a dramatic. What am I looking for? Okay, here we go. Ready? Let me get the scissors. It's time for the unboxing. This one side. Side. I can make it kind of ASMR. Not with the music though. Music would not be very ASMR. Someday I'll do an ASMR. Someday. That's right, I was pulling chat up. That's what I was doing. There you are. Let me just move you guys over this way. There we go, there we go. There. That works. Okay. How loud is it for you guys? Close to the mic. One side. Ooh, oh, there we go. There we go. Yep, Cirsova. They had a magazine. I think the magazine had to stop though, if I remember right. But it was a cool, like, callback to the pulp rev days, like when all what we consider now like the classic pulp stuff were in magazines. I think I think maybe I'm wrong. That's what I think is it's called back to that. But anyway, they also got some books. So let's see what books they have. Box opening ASMR. Yes, Bagstered. Thanks for stopping in. Hello. Jay, what? How'd your message get redacted? Alright, anyway, magazine is still going. Oh, okay, cool. But we went only invite going for 2026. Okay, so it's not like an open open submission anymore. We have 2 issues left in 2025 and we'll hopefully buy enough to put out 2 in 2026. That's pretty awesome. Sweet. So yeah, okay, cool. That makes me happy. Magazine's still going strong. Yay! So let's check out. Ooh, this looks nice. Can you guys see that? Here, let me make sure you guys can see this. There we go. Okay. Adjust the things. Okay, there we go. I need to move my water somewhere. Something like that. Okay. Anyway, this looks very cool. Hardback. Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap. ASMR. Working, but wanted to stop by and say hi. Hope all goes well with the unboxing. Thank you, Chica Champion. Oh, thank you. Hope you have a good day at work. Alright, let's see here. Ooh, yes, it's the Mongoose and Meerkat. Ooh. With like all the stories put together. Okay, see it pretty well? Ta-da! I may need to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, let me... let's see. Ta-da! Oh, that's okay. No, I'm gonna keep it. It's I can't move it. I'll move this closer. I'll move boxes. All right, here we go. Oh, cards. All right, ta-da! What do you guys think? It's a nice cover. Oh, there's some cool stuff in it. Check it out. All right, we've got. Ooh, I like that artwork. I gotta remember who's Meerkat and who's Mongoose. I read one of their stories back for my first Cirsova reading stream. There we go. I like that artwork. Very pretty. Let's see on the back. All right, so yeah, she's Meerkat. Let's see. Cat, aka Meerkat. Bio. Cat, an engineer. No. Alright, chat. Putting this out here. I can't read. Or I just have a real hard time pronouncing words. I can read. It's just reading new words is hard. It is a thick book. It is a thick book. That is true. Mongoose is the guy. That's what I thought. Yes. Alexander is part of Cirsova. So he's the man. And I apologize for janky reading, but I will do my best. It's so over, chat. It's so over. Hey, my name's Minna Vanilla, and I never learned to read. I can read. It's just words are hard. Mystery unboxing stream. Just when I'm about to go to sleep, she hates me, bros. Okay. Come on, I'm out of names. No, this is a perfect going to sleep stream because I'm gonna read you some stories. Look, I'm gonna read you some bedtime stories. We're gonna read some Mongoose and Meerkat, and then we'll also see what's in this one. We will. Let me. Oh, here's some more artwork. Here we go. Ooh, these are also very nice. Ta-da! Don't we love a redhead with green eyes? I am very into webtoons and romance isekai, where a girl gets isekai'd into the romance novel she's reading and becomes a villainess, and it's always a redhead. Always a redhead. But ta-da! Mongoose looking good too. I like the outfits. Like the artwork. Here we go. Okay, cool. We got some like character sheets going on. All right. Maybe I can read this a little bit better. Let me hold it so you can see. Let's see. All right, there we go. Right. Fan of Bakurana? The name isn't ringing a bell. It could just be early in the morning. Sorry. All right. So, character sheet time. Name is Cat. Class is Thief, level 6. Alignment is neutral. XP 31,600. Ability 6 strength. Hit bonus +1. 3 intelligence, 15 wisdom, 17 dexterity. Oh, it's also +2 to knowledge, no knowledge, and +2 to save magic bonus. 9 constitution. Charisma reaction is 1. What's that? Max retainer 5. ML 8. You got 5 armor class, 16 hit points, movement 120 and 40. Armor, light armor. Weapons is a sword. And can climb is 92. Numbers do this to me too. Alright, here we go. Let me see it a little bit better. Isn't there an anime where a girl gets isekai'd into her favorite visual novel as a villainess, but starts messing up the storyline because she's not evil? Every single one. Every time. So many webtoons. I have so many webtoons that is basically that. Sometimes it's not always, not all of them. She becomes the villainess. But I want to say the ones where she's a redhead. Almost full genre of those now. Oh yeah. Okay. Bakurina. My Next Life as a Villainess. I think I have the first light novel. I realized I enjoy that genre, but I don't think I enjoy light novels because it's like very, very, very heavy narration. Like it doesn't feel like reading a story to me. It feels like reading a stream of consciousness. So I'm pretty sure I have My Next Life as a Villainess like as a light novel, and I think I finished it, but not my favorite style of writing. All right, let's see. We got 45, move silently, pick locks 45, pick pockets 45, so she's gotta pick your heart away. That's what I'm hearing. The Complete Tales of Mongoose and Meerkat by Jim Bryfold are out now on Amazon. Woo! I forget how to say his name. Brayfogle? Maybe. She's got what equipment does she have? You see this? Sword 1d8, dagger 1d4, adventure pack B, poison lance, oh that's kind of fun, 1d6, and thieves tools. Okay, that's kind of fun way to get to know her. Character sketch. So that is Meerkat, or cat. Cute, cute, cute. Let's see, Mongoose. Trying to get the light. Here we go. Alright, so she's obviously thiefy little thief hands. Let's see what he's got. Alright, this is Mongoose. Kind of looks like mangoes. I do have a for helping pronunciation of names and such. I have a little card over here. Let me bring it up. Where is it? Mongoose. Mongoose? I believe it's Mongoose. There's little squiggles. Unfortunately, I don't know how to interpret the squiggles. I will try. I will try. Or maybe we could go down a linguistic rabbit hole for a second and see what the squiggles mean. Whatever little indications on top of words to indicate something that I do not understand. Or we'll just go for it. Mongoose, but it's shortened here. I don't know if you can see it. It's shortened here, so it's like, it looks like mangoes. Or mangoose. How's the camera? Is it picking it up? It's a little hard to focus. You can kind of see it. Alright, anyway. So this is Mongoose. He's a fighting class. Level 5. Alignment neutral. 30,000 XP. You got 16 strength, 9 intelligence, 8 wisdom, 13 dexterity, 14 constitution, 12 charisma. He's got +2 to hit bonus, -1 to languages known. Or is that, wait, no. No, I guess saves and magic. I think I read the other one wrong, but that's okay. The pencil writing isn't very clear. Yeah, it's hard with, like, it's clear when you look at it in person, but it's not coming through on the video as well, but he's got +1 to missiles and +1 to hit bonus, 0 reaction, and then I guess there's max retainer and ML. He's got 4 and 7. Armor class 6, hit points 42. Okay, so he's a lot heftier. She only had like 16 hit points. Movement 120 and 40. Light armor. And then 10 to against death and poison. 11 against wand. 12 against paralyze. 13 against dragon breath. 14 red staff spell. He's got main sword, spear, dagger, adventure pack A, and giant golden pearl. Ooh, I bet that was in the story. He's got a main sword. Alright, cool. That was kind of fun. Fun little way to get to know the characters. Some other cute little cards. Both are very cool artworks. Different styles. But both of them show she's a cutie. Try and get the glare out of there. Alright, here we go. It's more introductions to them. Let's see. Alright, Mongoose, aka Mongoose. Mongoose is a brash young bravo eager to prove his worth with a blade and looking to make a name for himself as the Mongoose. He has teamed up with Cat, a mysterious alienist rogue, hoping to improve his fortunes and earn enough money to keep his mug and belly full. More than anything, however, Mongoose wants a Marin sword, one of the finest pieces of martial craftsmanship. It will mark him as a fighter of taste, distinction, sophistication, and wealth. But after that, what next? First appearance, the battlefield of Chris, which is the first in the Cirsova Volume 1, number 6 of fall 2017. So story's been ongoing since 2017. All right, and then Cat. You guys can see it, okay? It's hard to see where the camera's pointing. There we go. Oh, but if it's pointing at you guys, I can't read it. Cat is this word. You can kind of see it right there. Struggling here. What's that one? ENIGMATIC. My mother is so proud of me. All right, Cat is a I feel like I know the word, but I can't say it. Enigmatic alienist refugee with a head for history and a penchant for planning. Pairs up with Mongoose, a brash young bravo looking to make a name for himself as the Mongoose. While her partner seeks flashy wealth and fame, Cat, the Meerkat, has more in store for her gains as an adventurer than just food and ale. Every successful payday brings Cat one step closer to her ultimate goal. And then she also appears in the first story, which we read quite a while ago. I think they had to go into like this. It was like this old battlefield where, like, I forget if it was ghosts or what happened. There was definitely a fight. Okay, cool. Yay! That's pretty fun. And then here's the stories. I'm definitely gonna read some of these. Oh, here's some. Oh, here. Let's look at some of the illustrations. Let's back this up a little bit. You love a good illustration. Well, that's a cool one. Oh, there's some more. Lots of illustrations. Sweet. Where's one I just saw there? Oh, come back. Okay, yeah, I think this is from the first one. Yeah. There's something they had to fight in a pit, if I remember right. Here's another cool one. Oh, a suspension bridge? Classic. Alright, we'll get to stories. We'll get to stories very soon. I think I'm gonna open the other box. And then do some reading. Ooh, that looks kind of fun. Something's happening here. I wonder if those are zombies. They kind of seem like zombies. Ooh, classic big snake. Classic fighting the big snake. I will say, even though I haven't, like, gotten super deep into all the pulp stuff, I do love Conan the Barbarian. His stories are great. I need to read some more Edgar Rice Burroughs, and I need to read, like, the Tarzan stuff. Here we go. Oh, look at the cute fish. I like these. These are nice, simple little illustrations. Oh, wait, there's a bigger one. Okay, slightly different style here. Oh, that's kind of fun. I like that. I like that art style. Oh, she's got a cute. She's got a cute little thing in her pants there, a little ventilation. Oh, here's another. Fights, and more fights. Oh, that's pretty. Some sort of willow child. Oh, here's another one of these. This illustration. That's kind of cool that there's like two types of illustrations in here. That looks like a big monster. Her head. Her knees look so much smaller than her head in this one. But I'm pretty sure that... I'm sorry, the heads look slightly too big in this one. Just a little bit, but it's so cute. I like the roses. I like her hair. The hair has nice detail. I wonder how many different artists worked on this. Oh, that doesn't look like a good day. So yeah, as you can see, good adventure stories. Oh, that's kind of... Ooh. This looks like, Monty Python. Monty Python fit. There's another one. Not sure what's happening. Oh, he's being stabbed in the back. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, we got what? How many pages is this? Like 300 something? Close to 400? But some nice stories. Alright, I'm gonna open the next box and then we'll probably read Meerkat and a few Meerkat and Mongoose stories. And then let's see what's in here. Go. Oh. I thought there were two things. It's only one thing. It's just the Meerkat one. This is stuff I ordered. This is for kiddo. Just homeschool stuff. Alright, you wanna see what I grabbed? Here, we'll do a quick detour into a few homeschool books I grabbed. Here we go. These little activity books. Here's Human Body. I was just at a small convention called Realm Makers Expo. You would have liked it. Oh, sounds fun. Not sure if I've heard of that one before, but sounds fun. I love a good convention. Although that's not for me. Yeah, no. It's just the Meerkat stuff. But hey, look, we got some cool workbooks. We got the Human Body. Kiddo loves, like, he likes to get detailed. He's like, how does this work? Why does that work? What is this? We got some geography. There we go. Some little workbook stuff. What do we got? We got science. Let's see, liquid or glass? Gas or liquid? Ups and downs, veggies, fruit, chickens. And then we got some paper crafts. Oh, this will be fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. Make some houses. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Oh, I like this one, this little lantern. And he's been really into, like, cutting and making stuff. Oh, it comes with the stuff, too. Yeah, this will be good. This will be easy, like, sit and do some crafts together. Anyway, I was wondering where these went. Anyway, these were mine. Back to the stories. I'll go ahead and, since it's been a while, I'll start from the beginning and read the first story. We'll read maybe the first, like, 2 or 3 stories. I think that would be good. Realm Makers is a Christian sci-fi fantasy writer, game developers conference. Oh, sweet. Realm Makers, that makes sense. It's a good name. Went to Dragon Con once, like years back when that was Milliardo and I's first date. Like, we're like, I've never been on like a first date to get to know someone. It's only been like, I know the person, we're interested in each other, and then we go out together. That was the case with Milliardo, but our first like officially have like leveled up and go do something together was Dragon Con, which was pretty fun back in the day. And I've been to like another small convention a few times. That's been fun. But anyway, about conventions. let me get some more like spooky music on, and we'll read. I'll see how I'll just read. I'll see how far I can read into Meerkat and Mongoose, and check out some of my past streams. I've read some stories from some of the magazines. It makes me happy. I'm glad that Cirsova is like not. I don't know how many people even do that anymore, but I think it's pretty cool that they do magazines still, and have like fun like ongoing stories and such happening. All right, let's see. Let's switch up the music here. I think. Oh, I gotta go over here. Where's my mouse? There it is. I'll bring it over here a second. Which button? My brain doesn't work fast when it comes to computer things. That's my downfall. Alright, here we go. Hopefully my voice is warmed up now after waking up. Let's do this one. Here we go. Set the mood. This back over here. All right, throat. Let's see what. Let me make this. And hopefully I can get the names okay. Right, there we go. Let me pull up my little reference again. Alright, let's go for it. I don't know how loud I want the music. Maybe a little bit quieter. It's like a little bit. There we go. Okay, how's that sound? Hi, hello there, Bernardo Horn. We're just about to read, so you can see. About to read some Meerkat and Mongoose. We're gonna start with the first story and read through a little bit. All right, I'll do my best. Again, chat. Words are hard. I love stories, but words are hard. I'll do my best with the pronunciation and smoothness of reading. This is good for me. This is good practice. So let's get into The Complete Tales of Mongoose and Meerkat by Jim Breifel. Starting off strong. All right. Here we go. So the first is The Battlefield of Caress. There's been like a lot of mucus in my throat in the morning, so I apologize for that, but I'll do what I can. I might just set move my coffee over here. All right. Time to tuck you in with a bedtime story, chat. I hope you're ready. I can try and do a more like ASMR kind of voice. And let me know if you like the background music or if you'd rather no background music. Without further ado. 2 months after the fall of Alnis. Not that. Mongoose Karis. Let's see. That's how you say it. Oldness. Okay. Mongoose. I'm gonna say Mongoose. Mongoose? I want to call him Mingoes. Because it really does. His name looks like Mingoes. I'm gonna say Mongoose. That sounds better. Okay. Enough delay. Let's read. I'm proud of myself. It's only, I don't know, I guess like an hour into stream. I think we can get some reading in. Alright, anyways. The battlefield of Caress. 2 months after the fall of Alnus. Not that Mongoose cares. It was, Mongoose thought, the stupidest bet he had ever made. Not that it should have surprised him. He had been winning all evening. Arm wrestling, bar bending, handstands, and a dozen other tests of strength and agility had seen him victorious, each victory bringing him another tankard of ale. Small wonder his pride was high and judgment low. Now he sat, head down, the morning sun angling through the inn's window to illuminate the table before him. His head hurt. His stomach wouldn't sit quietly, and worst of all... Let's see, what's his voice? I don't even know who Gorman is, he muttered to himself. He fought the Duke of Engrass. Mingosse lifted his head. A young woman sat across and further down the long table, her back to the fire. Mongoose savaged his memory, trying to remember her. Dark hair, torn clothes, yes, she had been playing dice last night, and winning. Oh wait, is this... That might be Meerkat. I need to give her a different voice. Hello there, Maria-chan. Hello, welcome in. We're reading a story. Sorry. He's dead then? He asked. Hard to say anything for certain. Where Cuirass is concerned, but I think it's safe to assume he's dead. Her tone was dry, lightly mocking, as though this should have been common knowledge. Cuirass. The name did have meaning. The Duke of Ingress, Cuirass. He mulled the names and came up blank. He wasn't in the mood for ignorance. Glaring at the woman, he wondered if she was setting him up. What could a ragged, dirty, bruised little bit of a girl know? The woman laughed softly as his frustration amused her. What do you know of Gorman? Oh, wait, no, that's him talking. Gorman? What do you know of Gorman? He challenged. You don't care about Gorman, she said. You just need his helm. So, tell me of his helm. A tough find, she said. It would be easier if you just admitted defeat and paid for the tankard of ale. No, Mongoose answered, not even needing to think about it. He would not give thievery the satisfaction. Thievery? Let's see. Theory. He would not give theory the satisfaction. Then listen, she said. Gorman served the Duke of Ingrass. Yeah. Names, chat names. Oh, I don't... Okay, it said dark hair. I'm realizing I don't think this is Cat, this is someone else. This must be the lady that challenges her, and then he somehow teams up with Cat. So, my mistake. Let's see, where was I? He was stationed near the center during the Battle of Caress, but sometime during the battle he was lost. Had his body been plundered, news of his helm would have been known. But it's not. She leaned forward, her green eyes clear and piercing. Gorman's hair remains in Caress. Caress battlefield, Mingosse said. I can go there. Life, since he had left Ardennes. Let's see. I got this one right. Yep. I gotta adjust things. Put this back over here. Make sure I got chat. There we go. Okay, Arnelon. Arnelon? Arnelon. Let's see, where was I? You guys still see it okay? Alright, sometime during the battle was lost. Alright, I can go there. Life since he had left Arenland had been less adventurous than expected. This might be fun. The woman cocked her head. I don't think you have a proper appreciation of caress. The door opened, and the adventurer, Theory? I believe it's Theory. Hello there, Squishy, hello! The adventurer Theory came in, all scars and swagger. Spying Mongoose, he shouted, Mongoose, my friend, do you have the helm? No? He shook his head in mock sorrow. The way you spoke last night, I felt sure you would have it already. Mongoose winced as Theory's shout knifed through his head. I'll get it, he growled. How long? I'm thirsty now, Theory roared with laughter. Maybe you want a drink too? The thought made Mongoose queasy. No. Good, because there's no ale for you until you bring the helm of Gorman. He towered over Mongoose as he said, more seriously, your tricks didn't impress me last night, and I'm not impressed now. You want to make a name of yourself? Puff. He sauntered across the room and shouted for the barmaid. Mongoose ground his teeth, knowing Theory's shouted on purpose. Mongoose knew he was stronger and faster, and Theory chose this bet to embarrass him. He wished he had realized it last night. I will not lose that easily. He leaned towards the woman. He spoke low so Theory couldn't hear. Do you know where Caress is? She nodded. He'd be damned if he let Theory get the better of him, even if it meant asking this woman for help. Will you help me? She didn't answer, just looked at him, sizing him up. Oh, wait, okay. Wait, hang on real quick. So I think this must be Cat. Let's see what the hair thing was. I think it just said dark hair. It said dark hair. Not black hair, just dark hair. She didn't answer, just looked at him, sizing him up. Perhaps she was stupid or indecisive, but watching her face, he got the feeling she saw deeper into his question than he did. If she thought to rob him in the wilds, she would get a nasty surprise. Yes, she said finally. I will help you. Good. What's your name? Cat. So how soon can you be ready to leave? Gorman's helm hasn't moved in 60 years, Cat said. I'll take a few minutes to clean up. One should look one's best when beginning a project. Mongoose sighed. I'll wait outside. Okay, so it is Cat. It just said dark hair. It didn't say like black hair, just dark hair. And we all knew she's a pretty redhead. As you can see. Pretty redhead. That's Cat. This book's hefty. He blinked when Cat joined him a short time later. She had washed her body and hair. He looked at her closely for the first time and realized she was pretty. No, he corrected himself. If you ignore the bruises and torn clothes, she was beautiful. It was like turning around and finding your sister all grown up. Why you gotta bring your sister into this, man? Sorry, that one caught me off guard. 60 years? That sounds infeasible. 60? What 60 years? Did I say years? Okay, yeah, the Gorman's helm hasn't moved in 60 years. Well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, he's dead, so he's not moving it. If no one else has gone to move it, maybe there's a reason no one else has gone to move it. Let's see. Okay. For a second, I thought you asked, like, 60 years, if I somehow said it took her 60 years to join him outside. It comes up later. A cat has an enchantment on her. Ooh. Ooh. Spoilers. That'd be kind of handy if it's an enchantment to, like, make her be able to blend in and not stand out with her gorgeous beauty. I bet you could market that. I bet a lot of women would like it. Alright. Let's see. His headache had subsided, and he felt foolish standing in the middle of the road, ready to drag this woman on his quest to find the helm of a fallen hero. Perhaps it was the ridiculously small stakes involved. If you give me directions, I can find it, he said. Kat rearranged the small pack she carried. If it were that easy, someone else would have found it. We'll need to stop in Engras. I want to search their archives. She started down the road. With 2 long strides, Mongoose caught up with her. I'll make it up to you. Give me half your winnings? Mongoose felt his face turn red. No, that's not what I meant. He fumbled for words because he didn't know what would be fair payment. He gathered his dignity and said, I'm a great adventurer. If you were, you wouldn't need to say it, Kat said. Although, she added before he could protest, you showed good skill, if not judgment, last night. Who was she to judge his skill? Mongoose wondered. He had thought she might be an escaped slave, but she sounded too confident. Gladtrix, maybe? Armies would have retrieved their wounded and dead from the battlefield immediately after battle, including retrieving things like armor of prominent leaders. If they didn't, looters would. But again, there must be a reason. 60 years has gone by, no one's gotten it. Yeah, this is like fantasy world. If the character sheets didn't help set the scene. Let's see. Where am I? He's still trying to puff himself up. Where are we at? Gladtrix, maybe? Gladiatrix? He kept wondering as they traveled in easy silence. Kat looked completely comfortable. She kept a good pace and didn't stop or complain. She seemed content in her knowledge of him, which made him wonder if he had said things last night that he couldn't remember. Maybe she was a good judge of character. Maybe she didn't care. But he liked her company, and he was glad she was there, even if he knew so little about her. After passing through a couple of small towns, Kat looked completely different than when he first met her. She bought new clothes, plain and sturdy, and other gear she lacked. He was surprised, given her appearance, her apparent poverty, but she reminded him while he wagered ale. He was surprised given her apparent poverty, but she reminded him while he wagered ale, she only took money. She bought a sword as well, small to suit her size, but the best available. Mongoose prided himself on knowing his steel, and she clearly did too. But when he asked her where she learned it, where she came from, or who she was, Kat answered with long silences. Since he didn't want to risk his bet or her company, he didn't press. Instead, he asked of Caress, and she told him what she knew. Yeah, this is light's getting in my eyes a little bit. Alright, there we go. I'm confused. Oh, he wasn't referring to her as Theory. I don't know if my comments confused you. Apologize if they did. But no, he was talking to her at the beginning, and then as they were talking, Theory came in, making comments, and then he asked, and I guess he made the bet with Theory, And then, he didn't... At first I thought she was the one that, like, made the bet with him, but no, it was Theory that made the bet with him, and then she agreed to help him. So Theory came in later. I was trying to do the voices differently. All right, where am I? There we go. You said Caress was big, Mongoose said as he chewed on a duck leg. If it didn't have wings, Mongoose might have thought this tavern served rats. He had entered Engrass hungry, and waiting while Cat stopped at the archives only made it worse. But really, how big can a battlefield be? You could ride 2 days east to west and not cross it, said Cat, and it stretched from the Caris Mountains in the north to the Balmis Swamps in the south. She looked up from her scroll. That's 50 miles. More scrolls curled on the table beside her. An extra candle sat next to her, illuminating her face, the scroll, and the plate of fried duck that sat between them. Mongoose grunted, reluctantly impressed. I'm surprised they let you take the scrolls. Cat returned to reading. They don't know I have them. Ah, that explains it. Mongoose picked up his cup as he thought of the crumbling city surrounding them. At one time, it was the largest city on the eastern continent. Its lands had stretched far in every direction, rich, prosperous, and powerful. Now it was a shell, its strength destroyed in the Caress, ruled by others, while its eastern lands lay cursed by the battle. Of the tens of thousands who once lived here, only a few thousand remained. Bone pickers, scavengers mostly, who shifted through the ruins of the city for old caches of wealth. Mongoose leaned over the table, trying to see what she read. What have you found? Not much I didn't know, Cat admitted. By the end of the first week of the battle, things were so confused that nobody knew what was happening. The battle lines had long since broken down. Messengers disappeared. She shrugged. But it is known that Gorman was near the center. That's where he was when the battle started. Wait. She shrugged. Oh, I think that was him saying, but it's known that Gorman was near the center. That's where he was when the battle started, Cat said. Mongoose didn't feel reassured. If they couldn't find Gorman, he would lose his bet. We have time to look, he said. The Caris still claims victims. Oh, this is a new voice. The Caress still claims victims. The voice came right behind them, and Mongoose jumped. Wine sloshed out of his cup. Without looking up, Cat swept her scrolls away just before the wine splashed on them. Mongoose glared at the man who seemed to have appeared next to them. He looked worn, if a person can look so. He had a long face, his mouth turned down in the corners. His skin and hair were pale. His clothes looked to be of better quality, but faded. For a brief second, his lips turned up in what Mongoose took to be an apology. Why do you say that? Mongoose asked. Adventurers go in the old battlefield looking for weapons or armor or magic. Often, all they find is death. They told me you visited the archives. He flicked his gaze around the table. I see you took some of it with you. You're from the north, he said to Cat. You're not, he told Mongoose. Arlan. I'm from Arlan, Mongoose said. He glanced at Cat. From the north? Maybe she didn't have a little of the look. Oh, she did, sorry. Maybe. She did have a little of the look. I'm not saying she looks like she's from the north. It's basically can't stand Tomo Noble. Also, I don't think it was two women in the room. I think it was a guy. I think there was the woman, Cat, and then Theory, which I think is how you say it, off of the little thingy. Theory. I think that was a guy that came in, and he's the one that made the bet. I feel like it's easier deciphering that when you're reading. Maybe as I'm trying to read it out loud. Because I feel like there's a lot of, like, when you're reading to yourself, things kind of like blend together until they like make sense, versus if you're trying to like read out loud and like do voices instead of absorbing it and then it all sorts itself out. Okay, cool, I got the name right. Yay. Theory. Gotcha. Alright, let's see. So the man's warning them that it's not going to be an easy task going out to get the helm. Let's see. Where was I? The man bobbed his... Oh, let's see. Cat neither hid nor apologized for the documents. Why did you seek us? The man bobbed his head around. Boredom, maybe. Normally I take some small pleasure in the thought of grave robbers dying amongst the old perils. But you, my dear, are too pretty. It is, and it sorrows me that you should perish. She smiled. Life is full of sorrow. True, sadly true. He pressed his palms together and bowed his head. But what do you seek on the field of caress? Gorman's helm, said Mongoose, wincing as Cat kicked him under the table. Would be a nice find, he added hastily. But we're after... Alzar's Crystal of Sight. Cat might have mentioned it sometime as they traveled. It sounded familiar. You won't find both together, said the man. Azar fought for the Balmus at the north end of the field. Gorman, of course, held the center of Engrass, a dangerous position. Do you know, said the man, artifact hunting is a very dangerous pursuit. A kind of mad glitter came into his eyes, as if the idea excited him, though otherwise his expression did not change. Mongoose did not answer, and neither did Cat. The man stood motionless. After a long silence, he said, I buy antiquities, and artifacts from Kuras. I buy them all. Cat lifted her head from her scroll. All of them? Nobody else buys any? Nobody else employs street urchins with sharp knives and stealthy ways. Mongoose set down his duck leg. He frowned, but before he could do more, Cat said, I'm not sure if we're being warned, threatened, or just talking. Words are words, said the man, and not to be confused with knives in the dark. Mongoose tried to puzzle this out. Who are you? He asked. Forgive me. I am Carl, dealer of historic artifacts. He stopped talking. It seemed he had no more to say, but he stood looking at them. Mongoose waited for him to leave, but he remained standing. Finally, Mongoose said, Why don't you hunt artifacts yourself? We all hunt them in different ways. Mongoose had no answer and fell silent. Carl stood, watching. A little bit creepy, ain't he? Let's see. Cat returned to reading. Mongoose picked up a piece of duck, toyed with it, held it up for Carl to see. Want some? Thank you, no. Well then, off you go. He made a shooing motion with his hands. Carl, dealer of artifacts and curiosities, do not forget. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Carl, dealer of artifacts and curiosities, do not forget. He seemed to glide from the room. Anything I said, he drifted back. Anything I said, drifted back to them. Oh, I see. Okay, so it was like, Carl, dealer of artifacts and curiosities, do not forget. He seemed to glide from the room. Anything I said, drifted back to them. An odd man, Mongoose said. Cat stared at the door. Odd, she agreed after a moment. How far is Kuras? He asked. If we leave in the morning, we'll arrive early the next day. It would be best to spend a few nights on Kuras, as few nights on Kuras as possible. Mongoose picked up the cold, greasy duck. I'm not afraid. His gaze drifted to the door of the tavern. And I'm not afraid of Carl. No, Cat said. You shouldn't be afraid of Carl. Whether or not he should fear Kuras, she left unsaid. So I think I'm going to lay down like this for a bit. The road passed out of silent, crumbling, and grass city into the silent, desolate country. The fields were a jumble of brambles and stunted trees. Here and there, a homestead anchored a small farm. Gray clouds cast an ominous pall over... Pall? Ominous pall over the land, but it did not rain. Some stone pillars that rose waist-high marked their way. At first, Mongoose thought them marking stones, but closer inspection revealed some still had rusted mountings and occasionally the remains of gears and chains attached to the top. A polybolos, said Cat, protecting the supply line and big enough to handle a dragon. Polybolos? I think that's how you say it. Mongoose shook his head. How do you know this? He had never been one to worry about what he didn't know, but he couldn't help wondering again about her. Her knowledge was starting to scare him. It helps to know things. He couldn't argue that. The Duke's command fortress is at the western edge of Kuras, Cat said. When they reached it the next morning, the fortress was unlike any Mongoose had ever seen. It didn't look like a fortress, in spite of straddling the road. It had doors large enough to drive carts through and windows to light the interior. Custom house, said Cat, and once she said it, he could tell. The road passed through a half-barrel tunnel, heavy gates rusting to nothing at either end. Rooms of confiscated goods crumbled to either side of the main building. They used it as an administrative post when the war started. Mongoose walked to the nearest door and stuck his head inside. Night's cold still lingered within the building, and a bit of its darkness too. Once his eyes grew accustomed to the gloom, he could see it was empty except for rubble and a thick layer of dust. Just as he turned to leave, some words caught his eyes. Scratched into the wall by manacle above a jumble of bones was, "Madness saved me." Whether written by or written to mock the prisoners, Mongoose could not tell. Ominous. Wind whispered through the building, stirring the cold air and raising bumps on Mongoose's arms. "This says what I've been trying to tell you," Cat called. Mongoose found her in the tunnel, pointing to the wall. Graffiti covered the wall. Words of men long dead. Time wore away the scratching. So little could be read from the soldiers who only once passed this way. Cat pointed at some doggerel. I don't know that word. Some of it that survived. "Should you venture past this gate, gird your weapon and hope forsake. For caress demands blood and gore, and death shall feed it evermore." "Caress sounds like a beast, not a battle," said Mongoose. "Now," Cat said, "you're beginning to understand." Walking to the end of the tunnel, Mongoose looked out over Caress, trying to imagine what it must have been like during the battle. A seething mass of soldiers fighting as far as you can see, punctured by fire and magic, so different from the quiet, undulating land before him. It would have been mud and stone instead of grass and scrub brush. "Death shall feed it evermore," Mongoose snorted. "Superstition." Which is undoubtedly what is still killing people. What do you think is killing people? Traps, stray magic, traps, stray magic, restless spirits, unbanished demons, Cat said, and artifact hunters. A carnival of death, Mongoose said. He tried to laugh, but a shiver ran up his spine. What happened to the Duke of Ingress? He took the last of his men and rode into Caress. What? He didn't come back? Balmus didn't send his head home? Cat didn't answer, and Mongoose didn't need one. Together they walked out of the tunnel and into Caress. In spite of the sun, Mongoose sometimes shivered, as if passing through pockets of cold air. The feelings came and went, trying to discover the cause proved pointless. They traveled east, searching among the quiet grassy fields and ravines. Artifacts, helms, shields, and rotting timbers of war engines littered their path. Sometimes, rarely, they passed a Kurin, something that said, in the midst of all the death, somebody remembered their humanity and honored the fallen comrade. Let's see, did I read that word right? Kurin? Carrion? I think it's like a grave. Anyway. Noon came and went without any clue to Gorman's helm. They probed deeper, sometimes stopping to scrape the thin soil away from an oddity, only to move on when it wasn't what they sought. Later, Mongoose saw the sun atop the rim of the ravine they climbed, and noticed night gathering in the shadows below them. It would not be long before it crept out to cover the entire land. They should find a safe place to spend the night. Movement caught his eye. By the gods of Eastwarn. Eastwarn? Look at the size of that beast. A wolf, tall as a deer, stood on an outcropping. The wolves grew large on the dead, Cat said. Mongoose drew his sword. We are not dinner. It may have been a wolf. It may have been the wolf understood him, for it gave a growling bark. Another wolf appeared, slightly smaller than the first. More followed until 7 huge wolves faced them. I'm not sure you should have mentioned dinner, Cat said. Mongoose swung his sword one-handed as he pulled out his dagger. Come, beast, we'll see who's dinner. One of the smaller wolves darted in, head down, and snapped at his leg. Mongoose slashed its head, but its thick skull turned his blade. The wolf retreated, bone visible atop its gray head and blood pouring through its fur. 2 more dashed in, one from each side. Mongoose thrust at once, while Cat lunged forward to stab the other. The rest of the pack swarmed over them, snarling and biting. Mongoose buried his dagger hilt deep into one, but its body still knocked him over and tore the weapon from his hand. He gripped his sword with both hands and rolled back and forth, trying to avoid snapping teeth. Next to him, Cat curled, the wolf on her back all gray and furred and gnashing teeth. He caught intermittent glimpses of her as she shook off the wolf and thrust, driving her sword straight through the wolf's mouth and into the back of its neck. She slashed another wolf's hind leg, making it collapse with a yelp. Teeth and tongue filled his vision. He raised his sword. The wolf was too close to thrust or swing. He turned his weapon so the wolf bit down on the sword, on the edge. It worried the blade, tearing itself badly before releasing the sword and backing away. Mongoose stood, glancing around. Cat stood next to him, resolute. 2 wolves lay dead. Fighting the wolves. Here we go. Ta-da! Four others bled. The pack leader stood on the outcropping, watching. Care to go again? Mongoose asked. The pack leader lowered its ears and bared its teeth, but gave a sharp bark. One of the wounded wolves barked back, and the leader growled. The wounded wolf gave a little whine. A chorus of tiny yips and howls burst from the cluster of rocks where the wolf had appeared. where the wolf had first appeared. A litter of pups followed, tumbling over each other. The wounded gathered around them, guided them up the ravine, nipping and growling to keep the pups moving. The pack leader snarled, pacing until the rest were gone, then vanished after them. "How's your back?" Mongoose asked. "Fine," said Cat. I think it just tore my jacket." Mongoose looked and nodded. "That went surprisingly well," he said. He stopped himself, from saying, "Didn't do anything stupid." He substituted, "Fought very well." They had fought well together. "Thank you," she said. "Let's find some place to rest that doesn't have wolves," he said. "And we can look for Gorman's helm in the morning." I kind of feel bad for the wolves now. I hope none of them were the moms to the babies. By the time Mongoose reached the ridge, the sun had just dropped below the horizon. It lit the western skies, but to the north, another glow. Let's see, where am I? Oh, my eyes. Give me a second. I can't tell if this light's bothering me. Light coming through the window, hang on. Let's move a couple things. Okay, I think that's better. Alright. Let's see here. Alright, by the time Mongoose reached the ridge, the sun had just dropped below the horizon. It lit the western sky, but to the north, another glow, previously drowned by the sunlight, backlit a higher ridge. Mongoose pointed it out to Cat. "Maybe it's a conference of spooks." She snorted her disbelief. "I wonder what it is." He grinned. "Let's find out." Except for the strange glow, it was fully dark when Cat led the way to the top of the ridge. "What is it?" Mongoose said as he hurried to catch up. "Not spooks," she said. Several miles away, a column of fire rose to the sky. Flames spiraled up to where the clouds took an orange glow. "A tornado of fire," Mongoose said. "A fire-nado, but it isn't moving." "Unbelievable." Awe tinged the Cat's voice. She shook her head slowly. "The records didn't mention that." Mongoose nodded. "Most magic is tricks and sleight of hand. This is incredible." "Dicing is sleight of hand," Cat corrected him. "Magic is something else." Something else entirely. "That should keep the wolves away," he said. "Let's go warm our hands." It took longer than Mongoose expected to climb the series of ridges and trudge through the valleys. Finally, the fire-nado glowed above the last ridge, and he heard its crackling roar. The air grew dry. Mongoose wiped his brow, drew a deep breath. Cat caught his eye, smiled, and pressed ahead. "It'll keep the wolves away, I'll grant you that," she said. The heat hit Mongoose as he climbed onto the ridge, making it difficult to breathe. Wind brushed past him, drying his sweat, but not cooling him. The fire-nado roared on the opposite ridge and bathed the whole valley in orange light. The ground reflected the glow back. Hundreds, maybe thousands of bodies still lay where they fell, mummified. Their armor had been burnished by the heat and wind. Nothing grew, for the fire-nado carried away all the dust, leaving only stone and hard, blackened earth. Mongoose licked his lips. "If the helm is down there, I'll for sure need a drink." Cat drew her hair back. Her voice cracked. She swallowed. "I don't think it is. The center is further south." Mongoose shaded his eyes. "What does it burn?" "Nothing. It's magic." It must burn something. That is a major magical disaster, she said, still staring at the fire-nado. An accident. She paused. Maybe not an accident, but magic done beyond the boundaries of control. It must burn something, Mongoose insisted. Ah, it must draw its fire from another dimension. Somewhere in another universe is a whirling vortex of cold. Kat looked at him, something like surprise on her face. He couldn't tell if she thought him brilliant or ridiculous. Perhaps, she said thoughtfully. She turned to leave, but Mongoose stayed. There, said Mongoose, the word scratching his dry throat as it came out. A pile of bodies lay near the bottom of the valley. Men had died by the dozen there, and that meant a hero. That mound of bodies. Who was that? Kat came beside him. We're too far north, she said. It can't be Gorman. How can you be sure? I'm going to look. Kat did not answer, nor did she follow. She stood, her face orange from the fire-nado as he turned to investigate the bodies. The wind pushed him forward. The heat radiated so strongly he thought he could feel his skin redden. He stepped with exaggerated care over desiccated corpses. Everything he did slowly, deliberately. He thought he heard words, but over the wind, the dull roar of the dull... Hang on, I need like a pointer. Help me follow the words. 1 second. Quick stretch break. Sorry, but fire-nado just sounds like such an incredibly modern word to use. I mean, tornadoes existed before, and it's fire-nado. It seems like the logical conclusion. Hello, we're raiding. Oh, who are you raiding from, Arthur D? I missed the raid notification. Who was it? Who came in? Alright, I'm gonna use this, because my words seem to be blurring a bit. Alright, here we go. I got this in Korea, like it's cute little things for like poking fruit. Here, let me adjust. I want to make sure you guys can still see good. Let's get this. More like this. Okay, that might be better. Okay. There we go. All right, back to it. Let's see. Everything he did slowly, deliberately. He thought he could hear words, but over the wind and the dull roar of the fire-nado, he couldn't be certain. It didn't matter anyway, he told himself, for the mound of bodies was still far away. He didn't know if he should trust his eyes, for the hot air might distort distance. He stumbled, and a few steps later stumbled again. The body in front of him grinned through shriveled lips. Its eyes had been vaporized. Mongoose wondered if enemies had killed the man, or had the fire-nado. He blinked, and his eyelids scraped across his eyes like sandpaper. He couldn't think clearly. Why was he here? How had he come to be kneeling next to a dead man? What was Kat saying? Kat's hair whipped past her, and she held up a fold of her cloak as protection against the heat. Mongoose wanted to say something, but as he opened his mouth, she lifted her other hand and squirted water from her flask. It went into his mouth and over his face, stinging his eyes. She yanked him up, dragging him towards the ridge, only pausing to give him more water. He stumbled often, his legs weak, but she did not let him fall. Once at the top, she threw herself down on the other side, protected from the heat and the wind. Oh, Mollington raid. Oh, yay! Hello. Afternoon, Minna. Hello, thank you for the raid. Hello, raiders. We're reading a book. Yes. We've got The Complete Tales of Mongoose and Meerkat by Jim Brayfogle, I think is how you say it. Published by Cirsova Press, who sent me this wonderful book. And some cute little cards of the characters. Ta-da! British raid, hello. Over in... I guess, is it EU time? However, it's this thing. Manly Anime Lion Raid. Hello. What was your stream? Did you guys have fun? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for the raid. I'm doing my best to read. Got a story. So what's happened so far is there's a guy named... His name's Mongoose. But he also mostly goes by Mongoose. And him and Cat, who's Meerkat, they're going into a cursed battlefield. It's like a, fantasy sort of setting. Going to a cursed battlefield to retrieve a helm because he made a bet. And so far they fought wolves, and there was a fire-nado that he just dragged away from because he just started walking towards it. 10:42 p.m. here. A cool looking book, not familiar with it. Yeah, I think I got a link to the Cirsova Press website. You can find more there. But this is the complete works. The stories were like serialized over their magazine. They've got a magazine, Cirsova magazine. Very cool stuff happening there. Very cool. So, ta-da! I got sent this book to read, you guys. So thank Cirsova for me. You show them some appreciation. Go check out some more of their books. We're gonna see if they can find this helm and what other dangers they might encounter. And I feel like the wolves are gonna come back. I feel like that was being set up for something. I've read this story before. I can't remember how it ends though. So let's see. But they were like shorter stories. So we've got just like 3 more pages. 3 more pages to the end of this one. Let's see. I'll probably try to finish reading this one, and hopefully at least one more before kids wake up. Let's see. So she pulled him back up away from the fire-nado. Let's see. Mongoose collapsed next to her and drank deeply of both cooler air and water. "That's," said Cat, her words spaced by deep breaths, "not Gorman." Mongoose nodded and closed his eyes. He could almost feel them absorbing moisture. Good. For 2 days, they worked their way south and east. Mongoose complained of troubled dreams and feeling of other beings crowding into his head at night. Cat admitted having the same feeling. During the day, Mongoose often saw things at the edge of his vision, but they vanished when he turned his head. He did not mention them because he didn't want Cat to think him foolish. They saw and avoided many hazards, but did not find Gorman's helm. "Here," said Mongoose. "We must be near the center." This is where Gorman would be. But we got another illustration. I feel like something's about to happen. The ground was flat, but riven with cracks. At places they could see hints of the old road, at one point even the foundations of a bridge, but only grass grew for miles around. In spite of being flat, the ground was lumpy and uneven, treacherous to walk on. When Mongoose rubbed his foot across the grass, it pulled away. The soil was thin over a rusted breastplate. He took a step and felt something crunch as he put his weight down. Armor or bones, he could not tell. Heroes do not die common death, said Cat. Look for something more than this. Mongoose nodded, walking forward, sometimes slipping when the grass slid off an old skull, sometimes crunching through rusted armor or weakened ribs. Whew, that's kind of grueling. Let's see. He stepped on someone everywhere he placed his feet. Who's that? Cat said. Mongoose looked up in time to see two men, unnoticed earlier, disappearing into a crevice. Theory, said Mongoose. For those joining us, he was the guy at the beginning that challenged Mongoose to a bet to find Gorman's helm. If it's lumpy and uneven, it's not flat. Well, I mean, like, there's not a bunch of hills. Like, it's a big plain. Like, it's flat. Like, there's no hills and stuff going on. But, like, the ground itself is lumpy. I think the ground can be lumpy while the land is flat. Yeah, I told you before, Theodore. At the beginning, I don't know if I didn't, like, narrate the story clearly, but in the beginning, he was talking to Kat, who was the woman he was talking to at the beginning, and then Theory came in, and he was the one that was being loud and being like, are you gonna find that helm? You know, you didn't impress me, and he went and got a drink. So Theory was the guy that challenged him to the bet. Theory, said Mongoose. He wants to claim the helm before us. The scoundrel. He's too cheap to buy drinks, so he has to steal our treasure. Mongoose began to run, not minding his footing. He heard Cat's light footsteps behind him. Mongoose reached a valley, somewhat deep, rather short, but well lit by the overhead sun. Theory picked his way down the wall, his face obscured by a large shield strapped to his back. He was halfway down. His companion followed. Stop, you thief, shouted Mongoose, only to be answered by laughter. Look, said Cat. She pointed to the far side of the valley. Gorman! Gorman. Okay, Gorman. Okay, I forget how I was saying it before, but Gorman is one of the villains in Wildcrats. So now I need to disconnect that from my mind. Gorman's the one in the Wildcrats who, like, his whole villain thing is that he finds, like, ways to cook animals. Just going after lots of animals to cook. That's his whole thing. That's Gorman. This is Gorman. I was obviously not paying attention as well as I thought. It's okay, Theodore. I'll take some blame for, like, maybe not narrating clearly. Since at the beginning you gotta kind of figure out who's talking, who's who. I'm trying my best to, like, do voices and stuff to distinguish, because it's, I don't know, to me it's easy to see on the paper. A little bit harder narrating. Let's see. Mongoose shouted as he threw himself down the wall, scrambling to catch up with his former drinking companion. He took chances and moved quickly, but it was apparent Theory had too much of a lead. Theory reached the valley floor. You should be buying the drinks for me, he called up. That wasn't the bet. I bet whether I could return with Gorman's helm. Well, you can't because the helm is mine, Theory shouted. A cheater and a thief! Mongoose barely noticed the small cuts on his hands from the rock as he hurried to catch up. Theory reached Gorman's body just as his henchmen and Mongoose both reached the valley floor. Only then did they all notice the creature, an imp, really, who sat behind Gorman. It had dark red molten skin, short but wicked horns curling from its head, and claws that shone ivory on its hand. As it climbed over the body, they noticed the other arm was truncated above the wrist. The scars, let's see. As it climbed over the body, they noticed the other arm was tourniqueted above the wrist, and scars crisscrossed its muscular body. It stood less than waist high. Theory laughed, and his tongue was clear. And his thoughts were clear. He laughed and his thoughts were clear. It might have been threatening if it weren't so small. The imp regarded Theory warily as he approached, but did not run. Suddenly, Theory swung his fist, catching the imp squarely and lifting it, slamming it into a boulder. It landed, lifted itself on its hand and stump, and shook its head slowly. Theory reached for the helm. "No!" shouted Mongoose. He leapt over a stone and charged Theory. Theory spun, shrugged his shield over his shoulder, and drew his sword. He swung at Mongoose. He swung as Mongoose neared. Mongoose drew in his breath, felt the sword tear the air in front of him. He drew his own sword. Theory attacked again, shouting for his companion. Mongoose parried. Mongoose swung, but Theory lifted his shield in time. "You're a fool," said Theory. "Lucky to get this far." "I," said Mongoose, "will be the greatest swordsman the world has ever known." "Oh, stop boasting," said Theory, as he turned aside another slash. Steel clashed on steel behind him, but Mongoose didn't turn. The sound did not stop, but continued rhythmically, with Mongoose's attacks adding distorted sounds. Theory sucked in a breath. "You'll never be as good as she is." With a twist of his wrist, Mongoose caught Theory's sword with his own and slid it down to bind in his crossguard. He yanked, pulling Theory forward. With another twist, he bent Theory's sword and freed his own. Swung up, catching Theory's shield and throwing it upwards. He swung under the upraised shield, cutting through Theory's side, cleaving his gut, and out near his far hip. Theory straightened, but his torso kept falling back while his legs stayed in place. His guts cascaded out onto the ground before he fell over it entirely. Mongoose turned to check on Cat. She sat on one of the rocks, legs crossed, elbows on one knee, head in her hand, looking bored. Theory's henchman lay face down and clearly dead. "That dratted thief," Mongoose said. "Now there's no one to buy my drinks." The imp had crept back in front of Gorman. It hissed and stood a little straighter as Mongoose approached. "Step aside, little beast," Mongoose said. "He's guarding it," Cat said. "Surely he is, and he can guard it all but the helm when we leave. Suit yourself, but I'd leave it there." Mongoose laughed. "After coming all this way, who would believe us if we didn't have the helm?" He stretched his hand out. The imp hissed, sounding like a cat, and took a deep breath. It expanded, kept expanding, growing taller and wider, skin stretched taut over massive muscles. It had teeth like knives, claws like scimitars? Sparks crackled between its horns, and a tongue of fire licked from its mouth. No longer an imp, a demon towered over them. Now it sounded like the roar of a lion. "Hey!" Mongoose shouted as he jumped back. With its one hand, the demon picked up a large rock. It held up the rock and crumbled it like a piece of dry cheese. "I can take strong," said Mongoose. Mongoose said. "I can take strong," Mongoose said. The demon blew fire just far enough to make Mongoose move back. "Hey, that's not fair," he exclaimed. The heat reminded him of the fire NATO, and his mouth went suddenly dry. "That," said Cat, "is a good reason to leave the helm behind." The demon rumbled agreement. "It's guarding, Gorman," Cat continued. "It won't bother you if you don't touch the helm." "Not the helm," Mongoose said. "Maybe the gauntlets?" The demon held up its hand and snapped its claws together. Not the gauntlets either, he sighed. Not the gauntlets either, he sighed. He brightened up with a thought. Well, Theory wasn't going to buy drinks anyway. He sheathed his sword and backed further away. As Mongoose backed away, the demon seemed to relax. It tore off Theory's head, tossed into the air, and caught in its mouth on its way down. Mongoose turned away, started to climb out of the valley, trying to ignore the rending and crunching sound. Trying to ignore the rending and crunching sound. He felt very good about not taking the helm. You knew it could transform, he said. I would stay to ask how the demon got here, Cat said, not admitting anything as she climbed next to him, but I don't want to disturb its lunch. The crunching sound began again. She smiled. You can't win every bet. No point going back now. Theory is dead, and I didn't get the helm. There's always treasure, Cat said. Always adventure. We didn't even get the helm, he repeated. Our first time, she said. We'll get better. He paused, thought of the travel, the danger, and the lure of treasure. Did you have anything in mind? A jewel that was lost? She laughed, shook her head. Why ruin the pursuit with the goal? Sooner or later, we'll come to the treasure we most covet. Mongoose grinned. Then let us pursue without asking what we chase, and when we catch it, let us chase again. I thought the ending was different, honestly. I forget what I thought it was. Oh, this is the Fire NATO. Okay, for some reason I thought this was like something else, but this is the Fire NATO here. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, quick stretch, play break. Oh. Oh. Ooh. My eyes quite grim. Yeah, I was not expecting the other guy to show up. But fun way to establish the characters, give them a little adventure. It is really hard making a good, concise story. Like, it's much harder writing short stories than longer stories, I think. Like, I don't know. It takes some skill to write like a good full condensed, like a full story, like a good little character arc and such, in a more condensed space. It's good practice though. It's a good way to practice your storytelling in a more achievable way, I guess. I'm a big fan of short stories. They're good. They're good for reading if you want just a little fun story. They're good for practicing your creative process. I know that helped me a lot. Is writing a bunch of short stories helped me hone in my creative, like my writing process. And it makes you have to like be good with words, not over elaborate. Like tell the story. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Tell the story. Don't get bogged down. Scimitars? The sea is silent. Words are hard, chat, but I try. This is good practice, though. My eyes hurt a little bit. But... And hopefully I'm enunciating well. I'm gonna try one more story. Let's see if we can get... We'll see how far we can get into the next story before any kids wake up. Scimitars. Scimitars? Sounds like a mix between centaurs and centimeters. Scimitars? Alright, but there's the first story. Let's read the next. This one is Brandy and Ole. Oh, why did my computer change? Go back to night mode. Listening to these is comfy. I'm glad. That's my goal. Especially like nighttime for you guys. Keep it nice comfy vibes. Doing my best. Let's see if I can get light back on my computer. All right, another sip of coffee. I like the pointing. Let me just. I need to do some eye work and eye tracking. All right. And yeah, my computer's over to the side, so tracking on the model is going to be a little janky. It's a short I sound. Scimitars. E. Something like that. Alright, time for the next one. Alright, 4 months after the fall of Olness. Here, let me look at the, let's see. All right, hello there, potato cancer. Hello. Minna. Scimitars. I'll look at that word more later. Anyway, okay, on to the next story. Here we are. We're on Brandy and Ole. No. Oi? Brandy and Oi? I'm gonna go with it. 4 months after the fall of Olness, Mongoose watched the birds fly below him, their rich, dark red feathers in contrast to the white tops of the clouds. The sun shone through the hole in the mountain, illuminating birds and clouds even as it left the rest of Talhorn Mountain in shadow. Let's see. Yep, Talhorn. The hole couldn't possibly be natural. There was no reason for God or man to carve a perfect circle 500 feet across, clear through the mountain. That's a big hole. Die. Okay. Oh, is it a D? That would make sense. It looks like an O. Die. Okay. Brandy and Die. Okay, that's a D. Gotcha. This is nice. Feels like a book club. I'm glad you're enjoying the stories. Remember, I got a link pinned up there and in the description. Cirsova Publishing. They have lots of just good, fun, entertaining stories like this. So check them out. They thank them for this stream. Thank Alexander. So everyone say thanks, Alexander. Everyone say W, Alexander, in the chat right now, because he sent me this book for me to read you guys. So it's all thanks to him. I better see some W's for that, Alexander, in the chat. I'm watching you. Type them. Thank you for hosting it. No problem. It's good practice. I'm trying to get my speaking clear. I feel like sometimes my words run together. Let's see. The hole couldn't possibly be natural, but there was no reason for God or man to carve a perfect circle 500 feet across, clear through the mountain. Its exiting is as mysterious, sitting at the valley's head, but because it was on the edge of the word, no one cared. Okay, let's see. That's existed. Or existed. Oh, okay, now, okay, I got it. It existed as a mystery, sitting at the valley's head, but because it was on the edge of the world, nobody cared. The plank deck of the rope bridge swayed as Cat came up behind Mongoose. She paused to look over the edge. Minix bird, she said. That's what it's all about. Minix. The clouds gave the illusion that the valley was only 100 yards deep and dusted in cotton. In truth, only the makeshift bridge deck and rope handrails kept them from falling several thousand feet into the valley floor. "You'll not want to fall," a man said. He stood on the edge of a holman. Right? Holman. One of the spines of the rock that rose from the valley floor. Yeah, am I reading that right? Get my eyes to work with me. Let's see. "You'll not want to fall," a man said. He stood on the edge of a holman, one of the spears of rock that rose from the valley floor. The network of rope bridges connected the numerous holmans with each other and the ridge that divided the valley in two. "I didn't think I did." I didn't think I did? I don't know. I'm struggling, hang on. Because he said, "You'll not want to fall." And then he said, "I didn't think I did." Anyway, "I didn't think I did," Mongoose muttered as he finished crossing. "Are you Harlan?" "If you're the two adventurers I'm expecting, then I'm Harlan." He snorted loudly, dragging phlegm from his throat and spinning it over the edge of the Holman. Mongoose said. "My partner, Cat." He half turned so Harlan could see past him as Cat crossed the bridge. Harlan scattered white dust from his hair as he peered at Cat. Oh, scratched white dust from his hair. "You're pretty. You remind me of my sister, except she wasn't pretty." What's with sisters? Why do sisters keep getting brought into this? Mongoose wasn't sure of the compliment, but Cat acted as though she expected it. She should, Mongoose thought, for men always acknowledge her beauty, but never showed any desire. He didn't... Okay, this is an even better charm. You can still be pretty while making everyone think of their sister, so they're not interested in her. Smart. He didn't ask why, though he sometimes wondered. "Alright, you sent out a call?" Mongoose asked. "A call for adventurers with an offer of royal reward." He liked the sound of that. "You know what we do here?" Harlan asked. "You mine minks, Gano? You mine minks Gano and process it to make dye?" Cat said. That wasn't a question, she said that. "You mine minks Gano and process it to make dye," Cat said. Harlan nodded. "Exactly. The birds eat the ridge berries." He pointed to the ridge dividing the valley, which was green with bushes. More bushes grew atop the Holman. Mongoose could see red berries on the nearest one. "They eat the berries, and he looked at Cat and clearly changed the word he was going to say. "Poop. We make the poop into dye." "People want bird poop dye?" Mongoose asked. "The dye never fades," Harlan said. "It smooths the fibers of the cloth, making wool feel like cotton, cotton feel like silk, and silk feel like heaven. No accounting for what people will do," Mongoose said. "The color is absolutely unique, and the dye is very rare," Cat said. "Only knights and emperors were allowed to wear it during the age of the empires. That's why it's called a royal dye." "We make so little that we can't even fill the demand of the kings and princes of today," said Harlan. "So what's the trouble?" Mongoose asked. "Distillers. They harvest too many They harvest too many ridge berries to make their brandy. The birds don't have enough. The birds eat less, and we have less. He hesitated as he substituted again, Garno. Oh, the birds eat less, and we have less. He hesitated as he substituted again, Gunaro? Wait, no. Guano? Guano? Da-da-da-da-da. Can they eat anything else? Cat asked. No, if the minx birds eat anything except ridge berries, their guano won't make good dye. Huh, mused Mongoose, glancing at the green ridge, down at the carpet of clouds hiding the valley floor, and at the spidery network of bridges the workers must cross. They've hired thugs to intimidate my workers, Harlan continued. He stuck a grimy finger up his nose and fished around until he was satisfied. He inspected the results and flipped it over the rail. That's quite the detail. The Garno dust gets into you, he explained, into your eyes and nose and folds of your skin. Lovely, Cat muttered. You need to stop the distillers. Dyers have been harvesting guano from the Holman for generations. Now the distillers are destroying our trade. I don't care what you do. He raised his eyebrows, clearly conveying any option, no matter how gruesome, was acceptable. But get it done. The next morning, the sun crested the eastern horizon, flooding the valley with light and making the clouds glow gold. The minix birds flittered around the ridge, dots of motion rising from and settling back into the green bushes. Smaller flocks ate from the bushes growing on the Holman. You know, when they were talking about dyes and the birds, at first I thought like the birds themselves were being turned into dye. But it's just the poop. And some water too. Scrapers were already up, putting on their harnesses and tying to the safety pins. They tied their buckets to the belts and held their tools through loops of cord. Pretty neat operation. The clouds parted enough to see down to the valley floor. Mongoose then realized how ridiculously thin the Holman were, and wondered that they did not snap from the wind and their own weight. Don't drop your shovel, remarked Mongoose to a nearby scraper. That's a long way down. The scraper shook his head. Can't get it. Wind will kill you. He pointed to the hole in the mountain. The devil's arse funnels the wind coming through it down into the valley. We're above it, but below the clouds, it'll take the flesh off your bones. Whew. Devil's arse? Mongoose chuckled at the thought, looking at the hole more closely. With the sun lighting the face of the mountain, he could see the difference between the mountain rock and the massive ice ledge above the tunnel. You should see the snow swirl around in the winter, the man said. The wind through the hole blows it back up until it catches the mountain above or gets pushed to the side. He tugged on his rope, nodded to Mongoose, and began to lower himself off the side of the Holman. That explains why they work up here, said Cat, and not down below. Mongoose nodded, looking down at the barren valley until the clouds closed back up. The wind must be terrible indeed. Do you think the distillers were intimidated easily? Mongoose inquired as he ducked back into the small hut where they had spent the night. No, Cat started to gather her things. Mongoose shrugged. It didn't seem hard to run off some distillers. Just drop one over the edge and the others would see reason. Where are they? Over by the edge of the valley, there's a small grouping of Holmen close to the north wall, off to the east. We can just cut the bridges. You do that and I'll not pay you a thing, said Holmen. Mongoose startled and spun, only relaxing as he recognized the head dyer. You've no idea how hard it is to string the first line of a new bridge. It might be worth giving up a few Holmen, Kat said. No, I want every square inch of ridge and Holmen for growing ridge berries. I'm not giving up a thing. Those are the terms. If you don't like them, that's too bad. His tone bothered Mongoose. It'd be easier. I can cut the bridge myself, Harmon snapped. I'm hiring you because I don't want to. Mongoose nodded, not trusting himself to speak. He grabbed his pack, knocking over a pile of supplies at the same time. Ha! Holman gave a short barking laugh. He kicked a small keg that had been hidden in by the pile. Alcohol. Not supposed to be up here. Brandy? Asked Kat. No, just raw alcohol. We use making dyes. Mongoose eyed the keg. It would fit in his pack. Kat smirked. Seems like a drunk man would be susceptible to flying lessons. Harmon laughed. It happens. That's why I don't allow alcohol up here. He shrugged. Glad to see you're getting on with the job. I guess he didn't mean he doesn't care what we do, Mongoose said once Harlan left. He doesn't care what we do to the vineyards, Kat said, as long as it doesn't affect him. When Kat looked the other way, Mongoose pushed the keg into his pack. Harlan would assume whoever hid it came back, and the person who did hide it couldn't complain because it shouldn't have been there in the first place. He braced himself and swung his pack over his shoulder, trying to make it look no heavier than usual. Ready. I wonder what's going to happen with that. The distillers and dyes were essentially a small group of men sharing the same danger, so it didn't surprise Mongoose. They were expected. Two men stood at the far end of the bridge to the distiller's Holman. You've no business here, one called. Mongoose slipped off his pack and walked onto the bridge. He felt it bounce as he crossed. We do. A small stone slipped between the planks and dwindled to invisibility as it fell. The man who spoke stepped onto the bridge, unhooking heavy clubs from his belt. No, you don't. I'll drive into your head so you'll remember. The second man carried an iron-tipped spear. A third appeared from a small tent on the Holman. He carried a crossbow and immediately fitted a bolt into it and then began to work the crank. Not afraid of heights, are you? Asked the first man. No, replied Mongoose, uncertain by the swaying bridge or the long fall beneath him. He drew his sword. If this was how things were done here, that was fine. He thought, though the crossbow worried him. The man swung the club back and forth as he walked, timing his swings and steps so Mongoose had to parry to get ground. Keep running, the man taunted. It's the smartest thing you can do. The second man peered around the first, not interfering with his attack. You boys need to stop messing with the dye makers, Mongoose said, stopping his retreat. Not your business, the man said, then attacked. Mongoose spun, laying back into the rope handrails and let the club swing in front of him. The rope creaked with his weight, and he knew if it broke or his feet slipped, he had a very, very long fall, and the last thing that would go through his mind would be his ankles. The last thing that would go through his mind would be his ankles. Not sure why his ankles.
His weight shifted the bridge, pushing it away from him and tipping it sideways. The handrail now supported his weight, and his body forced the bridge deck to a steep angle. Cat cried out and grabbed the handrail and leaned into the tilt, somehow keeping her feet. The man with the club cursed as his feet slipped. He fell, then slid over the edge. The clouds, which looked so thick, did not stop his fall. He plunged inside and was lost from sight. The spear wielder fell, grabbing the planks as his legs swung towards the abyss. Mongoose's feet slipped from the bridge. He clutched the rail, felt it dip again. The bridge swayed back and struck him in the stomach, knocking the wind from him. His right hand slipped. He wrapped his arm around the rope and gripped it tight. Now he hung from the rope handrail, dangling past the deck of the bridge, gasping for air. Cat advanced past him, not heeding the bridge's movement. There he is, falling. Doing a little swing action. Whee, down he goes. If he fell off the cliff, he would get crushed. Yes, yes indeed. It's the ankles going through his mind, meaning his body going completely flat. That was just like, huh, that's one way to describe it. Let's see. Oh, let's see. The last guard stumbled to his feet, trying to free his spear, which had stuck between two planks. He yanked it up just in time to fend off Cat. Get up, Cat ordered. Mongoose rolled his eyes, afraid to let go of the rope to grab the bridge. His heart pounded, and he found it hard to breathe. You killed Jaren! The guard yelled, his eyes wide. The long way down, Cat said. He's not dead yet. She turned her head so Mongoose could see her profile. Get up! Mongoose heaved his legs up, doing no more than kicking the underside of the bridge. He tried again, managing to get one leg onto the bridge. He lay mostly over air, one arm entangled in the railing, looking down. The bridge rocked and swayed as Cat and the guard fought. Letting go with his left hand, Mongoose grabbed the bridge and pulled himself over, the railing rope rising as the bridge took more of his weight. As he stood nearly upright, he unwrapped his other arm. I dropped my sword, he said. Cat glanced back. Now we can kill this guy. She lunged, knocking aside the guard's spear and laying open his arm. She dropped her blade low, drew it across his leg, and stepped forward to shoulder him off the bridge. He threw his spear so he could grab the railing. Cat plucked the spear from the air and threw it to Mongoose. Then she cut the guard's hand from the rail, sending him screaming down to the valley. Wow, Cat don't play. She really don't play. She was... Last story, she was very passive. This story, dang. Well, doesn't this make all kinds of problems? The man with the crossbow said. He pointed the crossbow at Mongoose. I can kill you, he assured them. But you can't crank that thing fast enough to prevent me from killing you, Cat said. I could kill you instead. And face the same fate from me, Mongoose added. The moment you pull that trigger, you're a dead man, Cat said. Who joins me? You don't have to die, Mongoose said. Stop harvesting berries, and there isn't a problem. The man sneered. Except how would I make a living? Besides, the problem really isn't my picking berries. Besides, the problem really isn't my picking berries. Bruce? Asked Cat. For how long? Cat brushed her hair back. Until we get close enough to kill you. The man snorted. 2 hours. Fine. The man lowered the crossbow. Cat sheathed her sword. After a moment, Mongoose grounded his spear. I'm not giving up on this job, he whispered. Let's see. Grounded his spear. I'm not giving up on this job, he whispered. Of course not, whispered Cat. But he thinks he's safe from us in 2 hours. I want to know why. She crossed over to the Holman and said, "If you're picking the berries isn't the problem, what is it?" Let's see, how do you say this? Lejas. Lejas, the man introduced himself. He didn't answer Kat's question, instead saying, "I started in the dye business. I made the grain alcohol that's added to the dye to keep it liquid. They don't need much, 3 gallons or so a year. The lads drink a lot, but not enough to keep me busy." "And what does that have to do with our problem?" Mongoose asked. "I began experimenting with the ridge berries. I fermented them, which made a fair wine. Then I distilled them, which made a better brandy. Then I accidentally allowed the brandy to freeze, which serves to distill it again. And something happened. Fire in the first distillation, ice in the second. And the result is incredible. I cut it with melt water from the Talhorn and call it Imperial Brandy. I can set my price." "And you're making too much," Mongoose said. "The birds don't have enough berries to eat." Lejas shook his head. "Here's the thing. Harlan's dyes can only be made from mixing birds' gano after the bird has eaten ridge berries. No berries, no garno. But the berries only grow in soil fertilized by the garno. No garno, no berries. They've taken so much garno from the ridge and Holman that the bushes are sickly and don't produce much fruit. So you're saying it's not your fault?" "It's not. When Harlan took over from his father several years ago, he almost doubled his dye production. Now the bushes won't even grow half the Holman anymore because the soil is too thin." It made sense, and Mongoose believed him. It meant stopping Lejas wouldn't solve Harlan's problem, but sometimes the world worked that way. There were no right or wrong sides of the issue, only the side you were on. That doesn't change the fact that you're making brandy means fewer berries for the birds to eat, Kat said. Lejas nodded. "Essentially, yes, but in another 5 years, there won't be any ridgeberry bushes. So I don't know how it matters." Thousands of mixing birds, Minix birds, rose squawking from the ridge as workers crossed the bridge to begin scraping gano. Lejas shook his head. "Stupid. They scare the birds off the ridge and Holman, so the garno falls into the valley. They should wait until afternoon when the birds are done feeding." Mongoose ran his hand through his hair. "Doesn't some of the garno always fall into the valley?" "Of course. But do you know how much garno it takes to make even 1 flask of dye? No, you obviously don't. I use in my season fewer berries than it takes to make the garno than wasted by harvesting it in the morning." Mongoose struggled to sort this out. Kat shuffled her feet a little, moving the soil as if to see how thin it was. "Haven't you talked to Harlan?" "Haven't you talked to Harlan?" Lejas countered. "You know how productive that is. It got me nothing, and I had to hire Jarin and Carl when somebody set fire to my still." Mongoose knew exactly who that somebody was. "Huh," Kat said, clearly thinking. "It's our job to shut you down." "Walk away," Lejas said. "You can kill me once. The truce is up, but it'll kill you. Walk away now and you might live." "Ah, you think you can kill us?" Mongoose thumped the spear on the ground. Lejas set down his crossbow. "I don't need to. Those lads you killed were the kin to half the workers up here, and friends to most of the rest. You'll have a dozen men after you as soon as word gets out. Stay around until our truce ends, and you'll never make it off the Holman." "Their kin must work for Harlan then," said Mongoose. "Why would family members work for bitter rivals, especially one's fighting with each other?" "Because that's the reason I hired them. They'd not kill their kin, and their kin wouldn't kill them. Everybody makes the right noises, and nothing changes. That suits me even if it doesn't suit Harlan. But they tried to kill us, Mongoose pointed out. Lajas smiled, looking a little sad. I didn't say they were smart. And that's why Harlan hired people from outside the valley, Kat said, because he wanted change. Lajas pointed to the other Hallman. Looks like word's getting out. The mob might be here before the truce ends. I'll warn you, Jaren's brother is rash enough to cut bridges and Harlan be damned. Mongoose took a step towards the bridge. I'd rather not be trapped on the Hallman. Kat nodded. She stepped closer to Lajas. I'll not break the truce, but neither will I walk away from a job. We're not done here. She spun and led the way across the bridge. Mongoose followed, watching the men gathering on the other Hallman, mapping ways along the network of bridges, trying to figure out a path to the valley side. There were 2 bridges to the valley side, one to the west, one closer to Talhorn Mountain, the other further east. They wanted the east one. We can take them, Mongoose said as he picked up his pack. Kat glanced over her shoulder. Unless they cut the bridges. There is that, Mongoose frowned. Or they have bows. That too. The sound of pounding footsteps and creaking ropes surrounded Mongoose as he and Kat raced from Hallman to Hallman. Workers shouted the news to other workers, who pulled themselves up like insects to the top of the Hallmans. The men gathered in 2s and 3s before moving together to form larger groups. They brandished pickaxes and iron bars, and a couple had small bird bows. Go east, Mongoose said. Already, any fight would slow them until they could overwhelm them. He began to run. Cut them off! 4 men ran towards the east bridge. Stop them from escaping! West, called Mongoose, as their escape east was blocked. They veered off, seeking a way around, but other groups converged. Mongoose led them further west, from Hallman to Hallman, the pursuit gathering closer and more numerous. Not that way, Kat shouted. Mongoose stopped at the beginning of the long bridge. There was no other way off the opposite Hallman. An arrow buzzed past, glancing off the rock at his feet. A bowman stood on the only other bridge, drawing another arrow. There were 3 ways off the Hallman. One blocked by a bowman. One led to a dead end, and a mob of angry men closed from the way they had come. Mongoose rushed the bowman, shouting wildly. The man shrunk away, his eyes wide as he loosed his arrow. Give way! Mongoose swung his spear like a staff, knocking the man aside and jarring the bow from his hand. He rushed past, only pausing to ensure Kat followed. The way to the west bridge was clear. The long bridge bounced under their feet. The arm of the valley neared. The Mongoose foot shot through a board. He lurched, hitting the bridge hard, knocking the air from his lungs and wrenching his leg. He pulled himself forward, jerking his leg out of the hole. By the gods of Eastwan, he swore. He tried to bend his leg, but pain shot through his thigh. He reached up to grab the hand rope. Kat grabbed him under his shoulder and yanked him up. Run, she urged him. Using his spear as a crutch, Mongoose ran as well as he could. The pursuing men slowed to cross the gap he had made, so Kat and he reached the end of the bridge well ahead of them. The only path along the valley arm was a narrow, rocky trail. The fall off into the valley was harrowing, the slope to the top of the valley's arm unclimbable. A half-dozen men crossed the eastern bridge and turned towards them, blocking the path. Left, Kat called. Go left. There didn't seem to be much choice. Mongoose turned towards Talhorn Mountain. The trail narrowed as they approached the face of Talhorn. The sound of the wind ripping through the devil's os grew louder. Muscles aching, breath laboring, Mongoose followed Cat up the trail. Shouts and footsteps grew closer, and he didn't want to look back. He wished he knew where the trail led besides up. The air felt cooler as the wind ebbed away around the ice ledge. They were beside it now, a dirty white projection, impossibly large. Projection? Impossibly large, like a giant growth. They reached the ledge proper. It wasn't a solid sheet, as Mongoose had supposed, but was riddled with cracks and fissures from the summer heat. "You're not thinking of crossing this. You want to stop and die?" Cat tested the ice. A thin layer of meltwater made the surface slick. Mongoose's feet slid, and he found himself leaning on the spear, going too slowly, he thought, and a glance back confirmed that the pursuers were only a dozen yards behind. I really feel like they were set up by that Harlan guy who just, like, do some dirty work and take the punishment for it. I feel like he's the bad guy in this story. I believe it's guano. Guano? Okay. Oh, another stretch. Let's see. Mongoose could almost feel the ice shake from the force of the wind passing beneath it. The ledge sloped down just a little, and it didn't take much imagination to envision sliding off into space to ride the wind until dropping 7,000 feet. The sharp edge looked too much like a knife. Somebody screamed. Mongoose snapped his head sideways and watched one of their pursuers slide down the ledge, scrambling to catch hold. The man gathered speed as he neared the edge and launched into the air, where he and his screams were lost in the howling wind. Oh no, they're losing another of their guys. Mongoose swallowed hard. They neared the highest point on the ledge, and he realized the tremors were not his imagination. The fissures here ran deep. While the far side was only 60 yards away, he could not see a trail. "Give me your keg," Cat shouted over the wind. "What? Give me the keg!" Mongoose shrugged off his pack and opened it. "How did you know I had one?" "How could I not? It weighs your pack like a lead bar and gurgles when you run." She took the keg of alcohol, fumbling a little from its weight, to a fissure near the mountain's face. The men were near, jeering and threatening, but walking carefully on the slick ice. They did not need to hurry. Cat lifted the keg and smashed it in the fissure. "Hey!" shouted Mongoose, but she ignored him. She tore the end from his shirt and took a fire starter from her pack. She squeezed the handles, making sparks fly. After several tries, she caught the rag on fire and tossed it into the fissure. She jumped back as flames and heat roared out after her. "You're burning! Time to go," Cat said. "If this works, we don't want to be here." Mongoose took the hint. He reversed his spear, took 2 steps, and drove it into the ice, pushing himself forward. He threw himself down, sliding by their pursuers, who, taken by surprise, could only flail wildly and curse as he shot past. Which way is he sliding? I guess they're still going forward. He pulled himself off the ice the same time as Cat, and didn't need to be told to run. A crack, like a crack of an angry god's whip, ripped through the air. Mongoose turned in time to see the ice ledge sliding down the face of the mountain. There was a grumbling and rumbling as it twisted and began to crumble. The men grabbed whatever they could, but it all fell with them. If they screamed, the fall of the ice covered it. Aw, this is kind of sad, honestly. Like, they're having their disagreement with their craftsmanship and everything, but it's kind of sad that they're all dying. I mean, they were being, like, the 2 main characters had to get away, but those poor guys. By the gods of Eastwan, Mongoose whispered. Though that too was drowned out. When the last rocks and chunks of ice settled, it was silent. Silent. No shouts, no screams, no wind. Mongoose looked down at the mass now plugging the devil's os. There are a dozen men in there. He looked at Cat, shocked that they could have been so quickly wiped out. Oh man, so it was like a big ice thing, big enough to plug up the big hole. It seemed the ice fall had sucked all the sound from the valley, and it was only slowly coming back. The remaining men on the Holman muttered to each other, casting black looks at Mongoose and Cat, but nothing more. Killed my men, Harlan said, his face full of fury. We're here to get paid, Cat said. Mongoose spun to look at her in surprise. What? Paid? For killing my men? Harlan growled like an angry dog. For solving your problem, Cat said. You said you didn't care how we did it. I didn't expect you to kill my men. You shouldn't be surprised, Cat retorted. Bring our pay, I'll explain. Mongoose couldn't figure out what might have changed other than a dozen men dying in an avalanche that hadn't affected Lajas at all. Harlan grumbled as he followed them over the bridge until they reached, Lajas's Holman. You're here to kill me? Lajas said, holding up his crossbow. You're right, though. The one I'd choose to kill is Harlan. What? You treacherous scum, Harlan ducked behind Mongoose. I didn't bring him here for you to kill, Cat said. You are to agree not to gather ridge berries from the ridge or any Holman. In return for my life? Jarlath curled his lip. Cat turned, shielding her hand from Harlan. Cat turned, shielding her hands from Harlan, and pointed down. Lajas furrowed his brow. Cat pointed down again, then towards Talhorn. Lajas half turned to look at the mountain. With a sudden smile, Lajas cleared his throat. Ah, yes. I'll not gather any berries from the ridge or the Holman. Mongoose blinked. He opened his mouth in surprise and snapped it shut. He wanted to ask why, but didn't trust himself to speak. You mean that? Harlan stepped out from behind Mongoose. Of course, you're not stupid. Good. He scratched his head. Very good. He glared at Lajas. Don't think of changing my mind. Lajas lifted a hand and shook his head. It's all yours. Harlan sniffed. Make sure you remember it. A sly smile crossed his face as he regarded Kit and Mongoose. I can get new men. Well done. He reached into his tunic and drew out a small flask. Here you are. A royal reward. Mongoose took it. What is it? But Harlan had already turned away and crossed to the next Holman. What is it? Mongoose repeated. A royal reward, Lajas said. A quart of royal dye. Dye? We risked our lives for a quart of dye? He drew back his hand to fling it off the Holman, but Cat gently took it from him. We may as well keep it, she said. It's rare, after all. Mongoose rolled his eyes and turned to Lajas. The vineyard stood... Vintner, I think. Vineyard? Where was I? Stood with his crossbow pointed down, staring up to Harlan. Lajas laughed softly. There was no chance Harlan could hear. Ah, Harlan, you poor fool. He laughed again, dropping his crossbow. Come. He beckoned to Mongoose and Cat. He clapped each of their backs as they stepped from the bridge. You two may as well have worked for me. What will you do now? Mongoose asked. Do? I have the whole valley. Lajas threw out his arms and smiled broadly. Think of it. Hundreds of years of Garno building up, and now that there's no wind, I can plant ridgeberry bushes. I have the entire valley, while Harlan is stuck on those tiny thin Holman. Incredulously, Mongoose started to laugh as well. The sun was setting, silhouetting the solid bulk of Talahorn, the mysterious hole plugged by the avalanche. It will take a few hundred years before the bushes are old enough to produce berries, and I'll wait to hire guards in case Harlan dislikes our agreement. Lajas said. He shrugged. But come, my friends. Harlan has given you a royal reward. Let me give you an imperial one now. Mongoose grinned. I'll drink to that.
I think it's Vintnir. Not sure about that one. Yeah. Oh, man, waking up at 5 and then sitting in a chair for... I guess I woke up at... I sat down at 5. 5, 6, 7... Must 8, like 3 hours. Oh, but we did it! Little reading stream! Yay! Yay! What'd you guys think? There's the cover again. Whee! Ta-da! It's fun, it's fun. Hopefully my reading came across okay. I'll probably do more reading streams to try and work on it. I'm not very smooth at it, but I try. Did he say it will take 100 years before bushes start producing berries? I think so. Let's see. Let's see. Think of it, hundreds of years of Garno buildup, and now there's no wind. Let's see. Oh, no, sorry, a few years. Did I say 100? It'll take a few years before the bushes are old enough to produce berries. Okay, only a few years. Maybe I got mixed up. Only a few years. It's not going to take 100 years for the berries to produce bushes. Just a few years, just kind of normal. But then again, he's also got a lot of poop down there if he wants to start making dyes too. But anyway. No, only a few years. I was thinking a century was a bit long. Yeah, no, I was like, is he an elf? I guess I must have, for some reason I must have thought that, or said it, but no, just regular berries. But ta-da! Here, I'll show up the cards again. Doo-doo-doo. Here we go. Pretty cool stuff. I'm definitely going to read the rest of this. Might do another stream. I'll probably read through this myself. And if there's any stories that I particularly like, I might read a few of those. But if you guys want more of it, go pick it up. Go pick it up. Da-da-da-da. I got the link linked. All right. Oh, I'll take a minute. Oh, do a little stretch. Probably. I might sit here and do a little bit of editing before the kids wake up. Here, let me. Where's my stuff? I'll turn that off. Where am I? There I am. There we go. Okay, let me move myself up a little bit. There we go. There we go. How are you guys, chat? How are you guys? Does the setting have other races or just humans? Sure. I'm sure there's going to be some fae in there. Like, it's a fantasy setting. They mentioned dragons, like in that other, the first story when they're, like, walking along and saw stuff that was for, like, defending the trade routes and against dragons. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be other creatures in there. I don't see anything based off the illustrations in the book that has, like, obvious non-humans, but, I mean, it's fantasy setting, so I'm sure they'll be in there. But yeah.
We can hang out for a second. I got a members karaoke coming up. Oh wait, I think I hear someone moving. Here, let me go ahead and find a raid. I got a members karaoke coming up in a couple days. So if you're a member, look out for that. And then next week, I got something real cool planned next week. I got to finish putting it together. But July 30th, check it out. No elves, no dwarves, no goblins, no orcs. Okay, so mostly just peoples. Okay, gotcha. There are monsters, but it's mostly humans only. Okay, here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and let me find a raid real quick because I need to sign off because babies are waking up. Let me. Hang on. Come on, computer. All right. Signing off. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you to Cirsova Publishing and Alexander for sending me this nice story to read. Come on, computer, you're moving too slow. I gotta go get the baby. If Kirsha's still streaming, I'm gonna redirect to her. Hang on. Come on, come on. Where is Kirsha? Does she have raids open on YouTube? Okay, I'll be right back. Hang on. Computer is moving slow, but I'm gonna find a link to Kirsha's stream to send you guys over there. Alright, there's a link to Kirsha. Let's go raid and say hi to her, see what she's up to. Again, thank you guys for joining me. I'm glad we were able to get through all the stories before baby woke up. So, until next time. Stay fresh, my friends. Bye!